You start.
Yeah. Good afternoon, dear Excellencies, dear colleagues, and welcome to the commemoration of the International Day of Vesak 2023. I have the honor to co-chair this event with Ambassador Mohan Pires of Sri Lanka, and I also wish to welcome His Excellency Mr. Sabak Roshi, the President of the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll have very just short remarks. We have a full program today. Venerable monks, President of the General Assembly, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished delegates, I'd like to welcome all of you Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike to the commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. It is my honor to once again co-host this event with my dear friend, Ambassador Mohan of Sri Lanka, and it is our pleasure to observe this auspicious occasion in the United Nations premises for the first time since 2019. I am grateful that our commemoration will enable us to reflect on the significance of Vesak and the teachings of Lord Buddha. And I wish to express our high reverence and gratitude to the venerable monks from different Buddhist communities present here, from Sri Lanka, from Korea, from Vietnam, and from Thailand. And we'd like to thank our dear friends and colleagues of diverse faiths and beliefs who are with us to observe this important day for Buddhists around the world. The Day of Vesak marks the birth, enlightenment, and passing of Lord Buddha, which miraculously fell on the full moon in the month of May. So on this day, we commemorate and reflect on Lord Buddha's teachings that can be applied to help tackle the challenges of our times. As we continue to face multiple crises, be they economic, social, or environmental, Lord Buddha's Dhamma can be helpful, stressing the need for a balance amongst human beings, society, and nature, as well as interconnectedness and interdependence. And at a time when the Sustainable Development Goals are off track, the path of moderation, or the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism, can complement the practice of sustainable development, aiming at creating social solidarity and equality and ensuring harmony with nature. It is my hope that this event will inspire all of us to strive for a greater balance in today's world, promote peace and serenity, and help realize a better and more compassionate present and future for humanity, where no one is left behind. And I will now proceed directly to the high-level segment. Excellencies, distinguished guests, to begin this high-level segment of the commemoration of the Day of Vesak this year, it is my great honor to invite His Excellency Mr. Sabak Roshi, the President of the 77th session of the UNGA, to deliver his remarks for this auspicious occasion. You have the floor, please.
Thank you much, Mr. Chair, my dear friend. Excellencies, venerable monks, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my best wishes to all of you and the many millions who mark Vesak around the globe. As we heard, it is a day of commemoration of and celebration of the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. As we are facing complex and cascading crises, let us reflect on the teaching of Buddha, such as nonviolence, compassion, respect of all living. As he once said, one day you will just be a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. For that, we should see all the realities of our lives, including inequities, conflicts, selfishness, and intolerance. I urge us to set aside our differences and, in the spirit of this sacred day, work towards the promotion of peace, harmony, and the common good. These are also the pillars of our aspirations at the United Nations, as we strive to create a planet free from fear and violence, where all can live in prosperity and dignity. Likewise, the ideals of Buddha fully align with our SDGs, as we just heard. The keys to making our world sustainable, just, and equitable. Let me once again wish you a happy Vesak Day, and allow me to quote one Buddhist saying, "Life has many different chapters. Don't let the bad chapter end the book." I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your kind remarks. I understand you have a very busy schedule, so at some point I understand you may leave, but we thank you for your presence and for the honor that you've given us today. Let me now introduce the video message from His Excellency Mr. Don Paramatvinai, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Thailand. Can we hear the video message, please?
Venerable monks, President of General Assembly, Secretary General, Honorable Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, Excellencies, distinguished participants. It's my pleasure to join you to commemorate the International Day of Vesak. I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka for the continued partnership in co-hosting this event with the Permanent Mission of Thailand. I would like to begin with this quote from the Venerable Buddha Bhikkhu, a Thai Buddhist monk, which I find truly inspiring. The entire cosmos is a cooperative. The sun, the moon, and the stars live together as a cooperative. The same is true for humans and animals, trees and the earth. When we realize that the world is a mutually interdependent, cooperative enterprise, then we can build a noble environment. If our lives are not based on this food, then we shall perish. In our utterly chaotic and on the fritz world of present day, this quote could not be more pertinent. For too long and far too much, man has focused primarily on expanding our own singular space and wealth, with little or no regard for those of others. The no man is an island adage has lost its luster and relevance. The me first and my way or the highway mentality applies across the board. Missing in action is the Dhamma truth that everything in this world is interdependent and interconnected. Empathy, compromise, moderation, respect, and reasonableness seem to have lost their place. Everything has turned zero-sum and no room for the middle path. At peril is the inclusive peace, prosperity, and security that is based on the balance of all things. Wars have become a common phenomenon. Growing out of proportion are the disparity of the haves and the have-not, the triple planetary crisis, namely the loss of biodiversity, pollution, and the climate change that has severe far-reaching ramifications on human lives and livelihood. The world has lost its bearing. It's now time to change course and go back to basic, to the teaching of the Lord Buddha as espoused by Buddha Bhikkhu, to find the middle path to foster cooperation and human interconnectedness. The world can return to a collective cooperative environment with Dhamma. We are threatening our very own existence with the insatiable drive for growth. Greenhouse gases are causing planetary scale changes on land, in the ocean, and in the atmosphere. With the past 8 years being the hottest ever recorded on Earth, if we continue living the way we do, we certainly are on the path towards a mass extinction. As candles are being lit around the world on Vesak Day, symbolically, there is light in the darkness. For many Buddhists, we turn to the Buddha's teaching for comfort, to navigate through problems of our lives, and in many cases, to make a difference for the better. The Buddhist concept of the middle path, or Majjhima Patipata, can serve us well in this mission to save both humanity and the planet. It emphasizes the importance of awareness and mindfulness to regain balance and harmony. With empathy, we can lessen misconception, anger, and hatred that lead to conflicts. Through a middle ground, we are in a better position to build bridges, trust, and confidence. Eschewing extreme behaviors is essentially to restoring the equilibrium between economic growth and environmental preservation. Thailand's sufficiency economy philosophy, advocated by His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great, is based on the concept of Buddhist middle path. It emphasizes the principles of moderation, reasonableness, and self-immunity, and serve as the ground for inclusive, balanced, and sustainable development. Recently, Thailand adopted the Biocircular Green or BCG economic model as one of our national agenda. At the core, the BCG is a paradigm shift away from the profit maximization approach towards optimization by taking into account responsible production and moderation of consumption. As the UN is trying to preserve the 2030 SDGs, Thailand will continue to cooperate with the international community with our SEP for SDGs partnership via the BCG economic model. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the commemoration of the International Day of Vesak serves as an inspiration for us to do more toward building a better world for future generations. Allow me to end my remarks by sharing with you a simple prayer. May the Buddha's teaching guide us through the world's challenges with mindful thoughts, actions, and empathy. May we, as interconnected beings, all live in harmony, peace, and happiness. I thank you all. Thank you.
I thank the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Thailand for his video message, and I now give the floor to my co-chair, the Permanent Resident of Sri Lanka.
Thank you, Ambassador Surya, for giving me the floor. Excellencies, I have the honor to introduce the video message from His Excellency Mr. Ali Sabri, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka.
Venerable members of the Buddhist clergy, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at a time when we are just a year short of celebrating the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the historic resolution 54/115, titled International Recognition of the Day of Vesak at the United Nations headquarters and other United Nations offices, I have the great honor to address this assembly at this special event which marks the birth, enlightenment, and passing away of the Lord Buddha. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the government of the Kingdom of Thailand for co-organizing this event with the government of Sri Lanka. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we commemorate this auspicious occasion, the world is in great uncertainty and distress and is faced with multiple challenges. The ongoing wars where spillover impacts are felt worldwide, dire economic difficulties including unsustainable debt, climate change, threat of nuclear war, xenophobia, aggression, and intolerance pose formidable threat to the sustainability of very existence of life. As we endeavor to overcome current challenges, the teachings of the Lord Buddha provide inspiration through both character and example. The teachings provide comprehensive manual of training to look inwards and develop one's character and mental well-being to face up the challenges thrown at us in life. The timeless teaching of the Lord Buddha encapsulate the practical approaches to take on life's challenges as they are posed without being disturbed by the 8 worldly conditions, namely gain, loss, fame, disgrace, praise, blame, pleasure, and pain. As Lord Buddha explained it in the Mangala Sutta, I quote, "A mind unshaken by the worldly vicissitudes, sorrowless, stainless, and secure, stands victorious." This is a great blessing. The focus on the development of the individual is also coupled with advocacy for equality, non-discrimination, discipline in governance, fairness, and foresight in leadership, fairness in consumption, full utilization of the available resources, non-wastefulness, and even prudent management of finance, all of which are consonant with the concept of sustainable development. At a time when the whole of humanity is at pains, searching for solution to multiple catastrophic events that have occurred at the same time, a polycrisis as the contemporary academia puts it, the teachings of the Buddha provide the insight and the inspiration that there is hope in our collective endeavors for the common good of humanity, provided our intentions are genuine and we approach matters with a sense of accommodation and brotherly feeling for the other. Let us therefore commit ourselves to learn from these great teachings and unite as members of one human family in a spirit of loving kindness for each other and all other beings on this planet, which is our only home. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to conclude by wishing each of you of peace of mind, happiness, and contentment in all your endeavors. May the blessings of the Triple Gem with you. Thank you.
Excellencies, I wish to thank the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka for his video message. I now have the honor, Excellencies, to introduce the video message by His Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations.
I send my warmest wishes to the millions around the world celebrating the day of Vesak, which marks the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. The ideals celebrated on this sacred day have a deep resonance with the goals of our United Nations: understanding among peoples, the pursuit of harmony, the promotion of peace. At this time of strife, the Buddha's teachings of tolerance, compassion, and service to humanity are a source of solace and strength. As we navigate the path to a better future, let us seize the spirit of Vesak. Let us reach out to bridge differences, rise above narrow self-interest, and work together in solidarity for a more peaceful world for all.
I wish to thank the Secretary General for his video message. May I now proceed to pass the floor to His Excellency the Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Thailand, Surya Chindawangse, to introduce the Venerable monks who will now invoke the religious blessings for this occasion. The floor is yours, Excellency.
Thank you very much. Well, now, on this auspicious day of celebrating the International Day of Vesak, let me humbly request religious blessings according to the Theravada tradition performed by พระมหาทวินภูขาวพระมหาคำสันกังมัน and พระกัสนะคัชพัฒนะ of วัดพุทธไทยถาวรวนาราม so ขอเชิญกล่าวได้เลยครับ
Hello. Venerable monks, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Next program, Thai monk from Queen gonna play for Vesak today. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa อิติปิโสภะคะวังอะระหังสัมพุทโธเมชาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตรปุริสธรรมสัพปฏิสัทธาเดมมนุษสานังพุทโธภคะวะติสวากาโตภคะวะตาธัมโมสันติติโกอาการิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโกปนัญญิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพมิญโยเยติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆโกชุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติตังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิทัพปุริสาบุคลาเยสัพพะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอังหุนายโยปังหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชริกรณิโยอนุตตรังบุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาติมหาการุณิโกนาโตหิตายาสัพพปานินางปุเรตวะปารมีสัพพปัตโตสัมโพธิมุตตมังเกเตนะสัจจวะเจนะโหนตุเตชัยมังครังชัยตัวโพธิยามุเลสักกายานังนาติวัตโนเยวังตะวังวิชัยโหหิชัยยสุชัยมังคะเรงอัปปาราชิตปัลลังเกสิเสปัทวิปวะคะเรงอภิเสเกสะปะปุถทานังอาคาปัตโตปะโมทติสุขาตังสุมังครังสุปาปัตตังสุโหติตังสุขโนสุโมโหโตจะสุเยบทังพรหมลิสุปทาคินังกายกรรมังวาจากรรมังปทาคินังปทาคินังมโนกรรมังปณิทิเตปทาคินาปทาคินานิกัตตวานรพันตเทปทาคิเน
Thank you very much for the blessing, and I'll give the floor to my co-chair for the next part.
Thank you, Excellency. Excellencies, may I have the honor to request a sermon by the Venerable Hien Bunne Kondanja Thera, the chief incumbent of the Staten Island Buddhist Temple. Venerable Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Supreme Buddha. Venerable Mahasangha, Sangha members of Thailand, Sangha members of Korea, Sangha members of Vietnam, and honorable guest, His Excellencies, and the distinguished guest. Today is a very happy day for us to be here together to celebrate after 3 or 4 years. in the teachings, wishing all of you happy Vesak Day, I like to remind the teachings of the Buddha. Sukho buddhanang uppado sukha samdhamma desana sukha sanghasa samaggi tamas samagganang taposukho. Happy is the birth of awakened one. Happy is the teaching of the Dhamma. Happy is the unity of Sangha. Happy is practicing metta of those in unity. On this auspicious day, millions of people celebrate the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and passing away. Supreme Buddha's teaching lies in the heart of UN Charter. Buddha guided his practitioners to pervade universal loving kindness, which is the purpose of, with this universal kindness, we can heal the world. For that purpose, the United Nations was formed to help out the people who are in difficulties, who are in conflicts. Whenever we see that the world is still under the flame of anger and hatred, there are certain corners of the world is still under the flames. So this taking place not due to ignorance as well as greed and hatred and selfishness. I was reading in the part of this UN Charter, it promotes to practice tolerance and living together in peace with one another as good neighbors. So to do this, we have to have understanding, we have to have patience, we have to have compassion, which promote, with Buddha encouraged all of us to practice. Buddha did not teach to Buddhists. Buddha taught the Dharma, the reality of the world, what he saw, what he experienced, to the people in the world. As he explained by the Supreme Buddha, cause of universal suffering or problems in the world are created by our craving. It includes not only desire of sensual pleasures, wealth and power, but also attachment to the ideas, views, opinions, concepts and beliefs. His encouragement is to practice letting go and unhealthy attachments, emotions, practice universal kindness, compassion and generosity. Supreme Buddha invited us to come and see for ourselves by practicing the Dharma. He didn't ask us to believe what he's saying. He invited us to come and see and practice for yourself. He was not a preacher, but he was a practitioner. He shared with us what he practiced, the results that he experienced. He guided us in 3 stages training involving morality, mental culture or meditation, and wisdom. Morality or good conduct is the avoidance of evil or unwholesome actions, actions which are tainted by greed, hatred, and delusion, and performance of good or wholesome actions, actions which are free from greed, hatred, and delusion, but motivated by liberality, loving kindness, and wisdom, to bring peace and harmony and freedom. The function of good conduct or morality restraint is to free one's mind from remorse or guilty conscience. The mind that is free from remorse or guilt is naturally calm and tranquil, and ready for concentration with awareness. No matter to what length increased scientific knowledge can extend man's mental horizon, there is room for the acceptance and assimilation for the further discovery within the framework of the teachings of the Buddha. The teaching of the Buddha is open to all to see and judge for oneself. We individually have to think as he guided us, not to believe, but experience it for yourself. The teaching of the Buddha became great civilizing force wherever it went. It appeals to reason and freedom of thought, recognizing the dignity and potentiality of human mind. It calls for equality and understanding, exhorting its followers to avoid evil, to do good, and to purify their minds. At this time of trouble in the world, the Supreme Buddha's spiritual guidance of tolerance, compassion help us. He encouraged us to practice in daily life, not at auspicious occasions only, but everyday life. If we do practice individually, we can bring peace to the world that we are living in. I like to quote, Sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitattha. May all beings have happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Thank you.
Reverend Kondanje, may I thank you for that very in-depth and insightful sermon on the teachings of the Lord Buddha. Excellencies, may I now proceed to introduce our speakers, and in accordance with the list I have, may I call upon and give the floor to the Permanent Representative of India, Her Excellency Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj. Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, a great story of an end and a beginning took place today in Kushinagar, India, many years ago. Of course, we all know the story of Siddhartha Gautama, that of an exceptional individual many centuries ago who told us of the balance within life, who spoke of the inevitable suffering as well as the antidote, that which lies within the pursuit of everyday life. I find today a wonderful opportunity for reflection, for a deeper look into the lives we wish to craft for ourselves. Cliché perhaps, but useful nevertheless. Furthermore, in times of such uncertainty, in a world we may not recognize, we are reminded of karma, a philosophy rooted in both Buddhism and Hinduism. The notion of service and compassion to others is often washed over the haste of life. It is something we have all heard countless times and yet perhaps still forget. But if true healing is to come, empathy is our only hope, and I believe in this possibility as my prayer and guide. So on this auspicious day, I wish all of my UN and Indian friends a blessed Vesak. I cannot conclude without expressing my profuse thanks to the missions of Thailand and Sri Lanka for so beautifully organizing this special commemoration. My respects and regards to the monks who have joined us today. Congratulations, Ambassador Surya and Mohan. Thank you.
I thank the Ambassador for India, Her Excellency Ruchira Kamboj, for her statement, which was most meaningful. Thank you. May I now proceed to give the floor to the Acting Deputy Permanent Representative of Nepal, the birthplace of the Buddha. I give the floor now to Mrs. Pratma Upetri. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. President of the General Assembly, Venerable monks, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, At the outset, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to Their Excellencies, permanent representatives of Sri Lanka and Thailand for taking a lead role in organizing this solemn event here at the United Nations. As we commemorate Vesak Day today, we must promote the Buddha's immortal teachings of peace, harmony, nonviolence, and tolerance that have spread across civilizations, region, and time. These are the very ideals the United Nations was founded on. The timeline when Buddha lived was different from today due to continued advancements of human society. Yet, dukkha, or suffering of human beings, remain the same, which arise from the insatiable greed of power, wealth, and resources. This timeless greed has led to contemporary world to suffer from conflict, hatred, and excessive exploitation of nature. In this context, Buddha's path of peaceful coexistence, empathy, tolerance, and a sense of responsibility have become more relevant than ever. In other words, these are the ideals we persistently pursue at the United Nations as pathways to global peace, security, human rights, sustainable development, including climate actions. As home to Lumbini, the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, Nepal carries a historical and cultural legacy of Buddhism as a living tradition. Values of Buddhism start us to thrive in our multicultural, multilingual, and multi-ethnic society with a deep faith in tolerance, coexistence, and peace. The government of Nepal is committed to developing, preserving, and promoting Lumbini as the fountain of Buddhism and world peace. The Buddhist heritage of Nepal is a center of attractions for pilgrims, scholars, and seekers of spiritual solace. The newly constructed international airport in Lumbini avails direct international air connections for the people from the outside world to the sacred birthplace of Buddha. The annual International Buddhist Conference serves as a platform for scholars, practitioners, and enthusiasts to discuss and promote Buddhist teachings and practices. Similarly, Lumbini Buddhist University contributes to promoting Buddhist philosophy and values for world peace. In today's world roiled by moral dilemmas, inequalities, conflicts, and climate crisis, Buddha's teachings provide a moral compass for human beings to discover peace and harmony. Hatred begets hatred. By love, worldly disease, Buddha said. May this Vesak Day inspire us all to pursue a path of peace, love, empathy, and compassion to build a harmonious world. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. I thank you.
May I thank the Deputy Permanent Representative of Nepal for her statement. Before I proceed to the next speaker, Excellencies, if you do wish to make a statement, you're free to press the microphone button in front of you, and we will give you the floor at the appropriate time. Thank you. Permit me now to proceed to the next speaker, the Permanent Representative of China, His Excellency, Ambassador Zhang Jun. Ambassador Jun, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mohan, and I also wish to thank Ambassador Surya for inviting me to participate in this very, very important commemoration. At the outset, please do allow me to thank the mission of the permanent missions of Thailand and Sri Lanka for co-hosting this important celebration and commemoration. Do allow me to convey my best wishes to all those who are celebrating and commemorating Vesak. Vesak is not only an occasion to celebrate, but also a good opportunity to reflect on and gain strength from Buddha's teachings. Many of our colleagues have mentioned that. Indeed, the world is now undergoing a series of intersecting crises and facing many, many challenges. At this critical juncture, it's imperative to learn from Buddha's spirits of compassion, tolerance, harmony, and equality, and reject discrimination, hatred, intolerance, xenophobia, and the mentality of me first, like what the Thai Deputy Prime Minister has mentioned, and the mentality of supremacy of one group people over the others. So it's high time for us to understand, to realize, to acknowledge that we have a shared world with a shared future, and we have to build it together. We do have to understand that mutual learning, dialogue among civilizations, and people-to-people exchanges play a key role in addressing the fundamental challenges of today's world. It was to this end President Xi Jinping launched recently a global civilization initiative. In this initiative, he calls for respect of the diversity of civilizations and the principles of equality, mutual learning, dialogue, and inclusivity. He emphasized the importance of humanity's common values like peace, development, equality, democracy, and freedom. He also advocates for the inheritance and innovation of traditional cultures. And he also calls for strengthening international people-to-people exchanges and foster mutual understanding. China stands ready to work with all partners, all member states of the UN to promote cultural and religious exchanges and to promote common development, common security, and a common future for us all. I thank you again.
I thank the permanent representative of China, Ambassador Jun, for that statement. May I now give the floor to the permanent representative of Japan, His Excellency Ishikane Kimihiro. The floor is yours, Ambassador.
Venerable monks, excellencies, it is a great honor to speak on this occasion of the Vesak Day, commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and death of Gautama Buddha. I thank the Permanent Mission of Thailand and Sri Lanka for organizing this event, and I am delighted to attend this event in person this year. In Japan, Buddhist temples celebrate Vesak Day by holding flower festivals. Celebrants pour sweet tea over small sacred statues with decorated flowers, as if bathing a newborn baby, in commemoration of the birth of Buddha. The teachings of Buddhism have inspired countless people throughout history and continue to be a source of guidance and inspiration for all people of various backgrounds. In the current world, as humanity continues to suffer from various threats to human security, concerning the survival, livelihoods, and dignity of people, let us reflect on the spirit of Buddhism together, which teaches tolerance, harmony, peace, and compassion. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The core values enshrined in the Declaration, such as freedom from fear and freedom from want, are values that Buddhist practitioners all cherish and believe in deeply. Buddhism teaches respect for the dignity of all beings, not only human beings, but also all living creatures, and even nature. Facing the multifaceted global challenges, including climate change, food insecurity, the issue of clear water, and sustainable energy. I sincerely believe that the wisdom of Buddhism can inspire our efforts to sustain peace and prosperity for future generations. To conclude, I would like to offer my best wishes to those celebrating the Day of Vesak and my sincerest hope that we may all draw on our spiritual ideals to ensure human security for all. I thank you.
I thank the permanent representative of Japan, Ambassador Kimihiro, for his statement. May I now give the floor to the permanent representative of Pakistan, His Excellency Ambassador Monir Akram. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'd like to first of all thank both yourself and the distinguished permanent representative of Thailand for having organized this important commemoration. It is an honor to participate in this celebration of Vesak Day, and I extend my great respect and appreciation to the venerable monks who are participating here. The life and teachings of Gautam Buddha have left an indelible impact on the world, inspiring countless generations to pursue a path of peace, compassion, and non-violence. The land of Pakistan and the Indus Valley have greatly benefited from the civilization which the Buddha brought to us. As manifested in the Gandhara civilization, in the great ancient city of Taxila, and the sacred shrine of Takhte-Bahi. The sacred day of Vesak offers an opportunity to reflect on the timeless wisdom of Buddha, peace, understanding, and a vision of humanity that supersedes national and other international differences, and which is so essential for us to cope with the complexities and the turbulent challenges of our time. These are virtues that can serve us as an inspiration today. On this day of Vesak, let us all renew our commitment to stand together as one humanity, show kindness and compassion to the most vulnerable, and to truly leave no one behind in our search for peace and prosperity. Happy Vesak Day. I thank you.
I thank the permanent representative of Pakistan for that statement. May I now hand over the floor to His Excellency, the Ambassador, permanent representative of Thailand, to carry on with the proceedings. The floor is yours, Excellency.
Thank you, dear co-chair. I now honored to give the floor to the permanent representative of Vietnam, to be followed by Lao People's Democratic Republic. So Vietnam, the floor is yours.
Venerable monks, Excellencies, let me extend our warm congratulations to all venerable monks present here today, and Buddhist, Sangha, and followers all over the world on the International Day of Vesak. Thank you very much, Ambassador Surya Chindawongse, Permanent Representative of Thailand, and Ambassador Mohan Paris, Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka, for bringing us together on this celebration. Venerable monks and Excellencies, over the past 25 centuries, Buddhism has been an unwavering companion to humanity. Lord Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, is recognized as one of the greatest thinkers. He embodies compassion, wisdom, non-self, and altruism. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is to end suffering and attain inner peace and liberation for all beings. The compassionate spirit of Lord Buddha does not discriminate classes, ethnicities, religions, and is not limited to a country or region or a world, but transcends space and time, reaching all living and non-living beings. As Lord Buddha said, there is no caste in the blood of the same red. There is no caste in the tears of the same salt. This teaching is a guideline for equality, freedom, and world peace. Therefore, Lord Buddha is honored as a messenger of peace. The teaching of Lord Buddha is a scientific and intellectual philosophical system that is still relevant today and would help solve complex challenges of the modern world, such as war, hunger, disease, climate change, environmental pollution. This is also the goals and purposes of the United Nations. The way to bring about human peace is a Noble Eightfold Path that Lord Buddha taught in the Fourth Noble Truths, the first sermon after his enlightenment. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and true concentration. The Noble Eightfold Path provides us with a comprehensive framework for leading a meaningful and fulfilling life. By cultivating mindfulness and wisdom, we can overcome our negative thoughts and emotions and develop a sense of inner peace and tranquility. By practicing compassion and kindness, we can create a more harmonious, compassionate, and peaceful world. The purpose of Buddhism is not to merely advocate for good over evil, peace over war, and compassion over hatred, but to purge our thoughts and innate nature of evil, war, and violence completely, encouraging us to become pure, noble beings that embody our inherent Buddha nature. Let us follow the Buddha's example and strive toward the greater good of all beings, letting go of selfish desires, cultivating mindfulness, practicing right speech, action, and livelihood, and respect and protect the natural environment. Only in this way can we contribute to the world peace and happiness, and also to honor and preserve the legacy of Lord Buddha. On this significant occasion, Vietnam hopes to host the United Nations Day of Vesak once again, as we did successfully in 2008, 2014, and 2019. May I wish you all a successful and fulfilling celebration. I thank you.
I wish to thank Your Excellency Jiang for the statement and also for your initiative in inviting venerable monks from Vietnam to join us in this ceremony and celebration today. Thank you. I now give the floor to the permanent representative of the Lao People's Democratic Republic, to be followed by Mongolia. Lao PDR, you have the floor.
Co-chairs, venerable monks, excellencies, I would like to join the previous speakers in expressing my sincere appreciation to the permanent missions of Sri Lanka and the Kingdom of Thailand for co-hosting this year's commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. Since the adoption of the General Assembly resolution in 1999, for more than 2 decades, the United Nations has acknowledged the contribution that Buddhism has made for over 2.5 millennia to human spirituality. In this context, the annual observance of the International Day of Vesak here at the United Nations remained imperative and of great relevance. The commemoration of Vesak Day not only reaffirms the United Nations' strong commitment to the principle of respect for diversity, but also promotes greater solidarity, understanding among humankind. It is also a true reflection of core value of the multilateralism and the United Nations. As the international community continues to overcome numerous global challenges, increasing intolerance, armed conflicts, violence, and suffering, the Buddhist approach to solving the global crises by peaceful means, especially the noble virtues of compassion, tolerance, and understanding, are more crucial than ever. We firmly believe that by continuing to uphold our shared responsibility and morality, we must continue our collective actions to promote multilateralism, global peace, and solidarity. Like in many countries, Buddhism has played a very important role in every aspect of life for the people in the Lao PDR, constituting fundamental cultural heritage and identity. In our peace-loving nation, Buddhism has played a crucial role in promoting nonviolence, peaceful coexistence, morality, and mutual understanding, respect for harmony among people of various ethnic groups, thus contributing to the maintenance of peace, social order, and the well-being of the people. In conclusion, I wish this year's commemoration of Vesak will inspire all of us, the people of United Nations, to renew our determination to promote global peace and solidarity, equality, compassion, tolerance, and nonviolence. I thank you.
I wish to thank His Excellency Tan Anupap for his statement. I now give the floor to the permanent representative of Mongolia, to be followed by the Philippines. Mongolia, you have the floor.
Excellencies, venerable monks, distinguished colleagues. At the outset, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the Parent Mission of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka and Parent Mission of Kingdom of Thailand to the United Nations for organizing the International Day of Vesak. The commemoration of the International Day of Vesak provides an opportunity to reflect on Lord Buddha's teachings, which promote compassion, peace, harmony, and service to the humanity. Excellencies and venerable monks, on the behalf of the government of Mongolia and the people of Mongolia, allow me to contribute my thoughts to this auspicious celebration. Vesak, also known in Mongolia as the Great Duching Day, is celebrated on the 15th day of the first month of summer in Mongolian lunar calendar through religious ceremony, cultural gatherings, and offerings. Buddhism has been playing a significant role in the Mongolian society since the ancient time. Mongolian Buddhism is based on the Mahayana tradition, particularly Vajrayana and Jebsundam Khotukht line has traditionally led the Buddhism in Mongolia. Excellencies and distinguished colleagues, today more than ever, we need to promote a universal message of wisdom, compassion, and warm-heartedness and service to humanity that were preached by the Lord Buddha. These values are reflected in the Charter of the United Nations. This very organization is established to save the succeeding generation from the scourge of the war and ensure global peace and security, and we, the people, have determined to practice tolerance and live together in peace with one another as a good neighbors. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to urge the world leaders to reflect on these commitments to deliver on our promise of peace and security. Let me conclude by citing Buddha Siddhartha Gautama Shakyamuni. With our thoughts, we make the world. A generous heart and kind speech and a life of service and compassion are the things which we renew the humanity. May happiness and its causes be bestowed upon all sentient beings, and I wish all of you the very happy International Day of Vesak. I thank you.
I wish to thank Your Excellency Permanent Representative Enkbold for his statement, and I now give the floor to the Permanent Representative of the Philippines, to be followed by Indonesia. The Philippines, you have the floor.
Ambassador Surya Chindawongsi, Ambassador Mohan Pieris, Excellencies, Venerable monks, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the Philippines is honored to join the community of nations in celebrating the 2023 International Day of Vesak,
to commemorate the birth, enlightenment, and passing away of the Buddha. On this momentous occasion, we celebrate the rich contributions of Buddhist communities around the world in building a better world through the pursuit of harmony, the promotion of peace and mutual understanding, and bringing happiness to the unfortunate, like the aged, the disabled, and the sick. The spirit of Vesak gives us the opportunity to reflect on universal values based on his teachings: tolerance, compassion, morality, simplicity, humility, human dignity, and service to humanity. The Buddha's wise words that health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship, also remain a source of strength and continue to resonate in today's rapidly evolving global security and economic architecture. Consistent with UN Resolution 54/115 of 1999 and its national policy of fostering interfaith dialogue, the Philippine government issued Proclamation number 24, declaring the full moon day of May of every year as Vesak Day. In the Philippines, we celebrate Vesak with a bathing Buddha to remind us to cleanse or purify ourselves through 3 acts of goodness: think good thoughts, say good words, and do good deeds. Introduced in the Philippines between the 7th and 13th centuries, the Buddhist faith, Mahayana tradition, is practiced today by some 2% of the country's 110 million population. We rank 20th in the world in terms of Buddhist population. For being comparatively small, the Buddhist community is among the most vibrant, as it shows the easy inclusiveness of Filipino society. For Filipinos, religious acceptance is at the core of our national character. Indeed, we should harness the power of working together. In line with the culture of peace agenda of the United Nations, the Philippines has partnered with Pakistan since 2004 in co-sponsoring a General Assembly resolution on the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue, understanding, cooperation for peace. Its premise is self-evident: evil springs from ignorance. To know all is to forgive all. As we continue to nourish peace inside and around us, may the teachings of Buddha continue to change our world into one of compassion, cooperation, and constancy, a better world with balance, healing, and benign purpose. Finally, the core values at the heart of Vesak have deep links to the aims and purposes of the United Nations. As former Secretary General Javier Perez de Cuellar said, and I quote, "Vesak's philosophy of peace, understanding, and a vision of humanity supersedes national and other international differences and lies at the heart of the Charter of the United Nations and should be prominent in all our thinking." Close quotes. Thank you.
I wish to thank Your Excellency Permanent Representative Antonio for your statement. I now give the floor to the Permanent Representative of Indonesia, after which I will give the co-chairmanship back to my co-chair. So Indonesia, you have the floor.
Ambassador Surya Chinawangse, Ambassador Mohan Paris, Venerable monks, Namo Buddhaya, I congratulate the Permanent Mission of Thailand and the Permanent Mission of Sri Lanka for organizing this solemn commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. The observance of Vesak is indeed an opportunity to reflect on the many virtues and lessons from the birth, enlightenment, and passing of Buddha. Buddha's teaching of tolerance, compassion, and service to humanity are also the virtues enshrined within the preamble of the Charter, in which the members of the United Nations are committed to. As we face the great challenge of our time, we should be continuously reminded of the spirit and teaching of Buddha in undertaking our works in the United Nations, from making peace with our neighbors, preserving our relationship with Mother Nature, to keeping good faith in upholding the principle of global order. As a religiously diverse and multicultural society with around 2 million Buddhists, Vesak is an important national holiday in Indonesia. This year, Buddhists in Indonesia will celebrate Vesak with a series of activities and rituals spending in 1 week in areas around the Borobudur temples. We welcome all Buddhists from around the world to join in this occasion. On this solemn commemoration of Vesak, let me use this moment of self-reflection on the teaching of Buddha to radiate selflessness and encourage harmonious relationship with our surrounding. I hope we all receive the enlightenment to walk together towards the betterment of humanity, long-lasting peace, bringing peace and happiness to all beings everywhere. I thank you. May we all be blessed with continuous good health and peace.
I wish to thank Your Excellency, Permanent Representative Aramanata, for your statement, and I now give back the chairing of this meeting to my co-chair.
I thank you for giving me the floor, Excellency. May I now proceed? Her Excellency, the Permanent Representative of Cambodia, Her Excellency Ambassador Sophie Eat, to make her intervention.
Venerable monks, Ambassador Mohan Paris, Ambassador Surya Chindawongse, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. Your message and those of His Excellency Don Pramod Vinay, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand, and His Excellency Ali Sabri, Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, truly inspire deep consciousness of the immeasurable value of the 4 basic virtues that make the best of men: Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha, which means loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, equanimity. I would like to express my profound thanks to the permanent missions of Thailand and Sri Lanka for co-hosting today's commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. It serves to remind the world of the wisdom and values that Lord Buddha imparted for building a peaceful world filled with love, compassion, equal freedom, which are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. The middle path to life helps us to navigate through the complexities of our world, cultivate empathy for other beings, and overcome strife and suffering to attain a peaceful, harmonious coexistence with each other and with nature. More than 90% of Cambodians are Buddhist, and Buddhism teachings are ingrained in our culture, politics, way of life, and our principle of equal mutual respect, tolerance, and understanding, which we commit to uphold and extend. The moral values imparted by Lord Buddha are in fact the same as those that form the cornerstone of the approach to sustainable development and our modern-day human rights and democratic principles. And Vesak serves as a reminder of the universal values that unite us all. Buddhism is Cambodia's national religion as enshrined in our constitution. Yet, everyone in Cambodia has full equal freedom to espouse other faiths for spiritual peace and communal harmony. May the light of Lord Buddha's wisdom and compassion continues to shine brightly, guiding us toward peace and enlightenment. Happy International Day, Vesak. Thank you for your kind attention.
I thank the Ambassador for Cambodia for her statement. May I now proceed to give the floor to His Excellency, the Ambassador for Bangladesh, Ambassador Mohammed Muhit. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Co-chairs, most venerable monks, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to join this celebration of the International Day of Vesak 2023. Happy Vesak Day to you all. I sincerely thank the permanent representatives of Sri Lanka, Ambassador Mohan Pieris, and Thailand, Ambassador Surya Chindawangsi, for bringing us together for this great celebration today. Buddhism in Bangladesh has a long and glorious history, dating back to the 7th century AD. It has had a profound influence on the lives of our people. We are proud to host some of the most revered Buddhist monasteries in the world. Bangladesh prides itself in promoting religious pluralism and harmony. It is our constitutional obligation to ensure equal status and rights in the practice of all religions, including Buddhism, which is the third largest religion practiced in the country. And I would like to make distinct mention of esteemed Buddhist religious leader and master, Atisa Dipankara Srigana. In Bangladesh, we call him Otish Dipankar. A major figure in the spread of the 11th century Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhism in Asia, and inspired Buddhist thought from Tibet to Sumatra. And it is Bikrampur, located in the current Munshiganj district of Bangladesh, is considered to be the most probable place of Atisa's birthplace, which was the capital of the Pala Empire as it was of the ancient kingdoms of Southeast Bengal. As on today, Munshiganj continues to be celebrated as an early center of Buddhist cultural, academic, and political life. Vesak Day in Bangladesh is popularly known as Buddha Purnima and is a public holiday. And if I may add here that Bangladesh is a country where there are public holidays to celebrate major days of all religions practiced in the country. Every year, Vesak Day is observed throughout the country with due solemnity, ritual, and religious fervor. It is no longer an event for Buddhists alone, rather a festival for people of all faiths, and has become an integral part of our culture. That spirit is being encapsulated in an oft-quoted statement by our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. Religion is one's own, but festivals are for everyone. And it is that spirit that brings us here today. The teachings of Lord Buddha have more relevance than ever as we seek spiritual solace and healing from the anxieties and sufferings from conflict and crisis. Lord Buddha's universal message of peace and harmony finds resonance in Bangladesh's propagation of a culture of peace at the United Nations. And if I may refer to Bangladesh's signature resolution entitled Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace, and the high-level forum convened by PGA every year on this. The teaching of Lord Buddha also serves as a powerful catalyst to uphold the ideals of the UN Charter. Let us embrace his wisdom to unite in building a peaceful world. I thank you all. Happy Vesak Day to you all again.
I thank His Excellency the Ambassador for Bangladesh for his statement. Now may I now proceed to give the floor to the Deputy Permanent Representative of Singapore, Mark Seah, to make his statement. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. Venerable monks, Excellencies, I extend warmest wishes of goodwill to all our Buddhist friends on this commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. My delegation would also like to thank you both, Ambassador Pieris and Ambassador Surya, and your missions for organizing today's event. It is good to be gathered here in person today, after several years of virtual celebrations. Co-chairs, today we honor the birth, enlightenment, and passing into nirvana of Gautama Buddha. His messages of peace, harmony, tolerance, kindness, and compassion to all human beings are timeless. In fact, these values are even more relevant amidst the continuing challenges we are facing in the world today, including the setbacks from COVID-19, deepening inequalities, violent conflicts, and wars. We should look to these universal values in working to overcome these challenges for a better future. This sacred day is observed as an important religious day in Singapore. The Buddhist community is in fact the largest religious group in Singapore's multiracial and multi-religious population, forming more than 1/3 of our resident population. Traditionally, on Vesak Day, Buddhists in Singapore would visit their local temples to pray and participate in rituals. They would often spend the rest of the day on worthy causes, as it is believed that good deeds on Vesak Day will multiply merit many times over. In line with the Buddha's teaching of compassion and service to others, the Buddhist community in Singapore has made important contributions to our nation, particularly in demonstrating generosity towards and acceptance of followers of all faiths or none. Over the past 30 years, religious organizations in Singapore, such as the Buddhist Fellowship, have prioritized developing and strengthening bonds between different groups, including by participating in interracial and religious confidence circles. Others, such as the Singapore Buddhist Federation, give bursary awards for needy students regardless of race or religion, and even conduct culinary lessons for inmates in prison. These contributions have enhanced community bonding, social cohesion, and interfaith understanding in my nation. As we celebrate the International Day of Vesak, it is timely to reflect on the values espoused by Gautama Buddha. Buddhists believe that the light of wisdom can dispel the darkness of ignorance on the path to enlightenment. It is time to rise from the shadows that continue to darken our world and embody the messages of peace, harmony, tolerance, and compassion in our actions. Only then will we be able to heal divides, realize true peace, and get back on the path towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Co-chairs, on this day, let us honor Buddha's wisdom and come together as one to shape a peaceful, united world. I wish you all a blessed Vesak Day. Thank you.
I thank Ambassador Sia of Singapore for his statement. May I now give the floor to the Deputy Permanent Representative of the Russian Federation, Ambassador Dmitry Shumakov. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Venerable monks, distinguished co-chairs, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate a sacred day for the millions of Buddhists around the world, Vesak Day. Back in 1999, the General Assembly confirmed the decision to observe this day internationally, and this decision aimed at accentuating the history-making importance of Buddhism for development of the human civilization. Throughout centuries, this day unites all Buddhists, symbolizing hope, expectations, striving for harmony, and purity of thoughts. Unfortunately, in the 21st century, many people on our planet live in a materialistic world and often forget about spiritual values, those that served as pillars for humanity during last several thousand of years. We should not forget that answers to many of our questions could be found in moral values and ethical ideas, which are fundamental for the human life. As we understand, the Vesak holiday is able to motivate the humankind to resort to spiritual values to resolve many pressing issues of today. Besides Buddha being passionate himself with science, shows us a unique example of combination of spiritual and intellectual evolution. Buddhism is one of the numerous confessions in Russia where this holiday is observed by the Buddhist Sangha. Over 4 centuries, this religion, being one of the oldest world religions, is practiced by indigenous people of my country, Buryats, Kalmyks, Tuvinians, and others. Today, there are over 1 million Buddhists in Russia, with more than 200 Buddhist religious organizations officially registered. In this regard, I would like to emphasize the unique experience of my country in the field of promoting interreligious dialogue. For many centuries, Orthodox Christians, Muslims, Catholics, Protestants, Jews and Buddhists of Russia have been coexisting peacefully and developing their motherland hand in hand while preserving and disseminating sacred traditions of respect and mutual understanding. Philosophy and spiritual practice of Buddhism greatly influenced national identity, ways of life, traditions, and customs of its followers. Buddhist culture became an integral and valuable part of history and cultural heritage of Russia. Let me all wish all of us a happy Vesak Day, and off the record, I'm also happy to say that I was part of negotiations back in 2013 when Vesak celebration was included in the list of floating holidays in the UN. Thank you very much.
I thank Ambassador Dmitry Shumakov of the Russian Federation for his statement and the observation that you were associated with this event back in 2013. Thank you. May I now proceed to give the floor to the Deputy Permanent Representative of the Republic of Korea, Ambassador Kim Sang-jin. The floor is yours, sir.
Excellencies, venerable monks, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to join you here today to celebrate the International Day of Vesak, which honors the birth, enlightenment, and the passing of the Buddha. These auspicious events contribute to have a particular resonance today as we consider the contribution of Buddha's teachings in building a brighter and more peaceful future for all. My deep appreciation goes to Ambassador of Thailand and Ambassador of Sri Lanka for organizing today's annual event. The Republic of Korea served as a co-sponsor of a GA Resolution 54/115, marking the day of Vesak in 1999, and proudly participate in these Vesak Day celebrations each and every year. Excellencies, venerable monks, ladies and gentlemen, today the world faces multiple interconnected crises and heightened uncertainty. Conflict, cascading climate changes, and COVID-19 have converged to supercharge the food, energy, and finance crises that have greatly impacted all of humanity and our planet. Under this difficult backdrop, I'm of the view that there has never been a greater moment to rekindle our attentions to the wise teachings of the Buddha. Those that advance tolerance for others, compassion towards the earth and its ecosystems, and service to humanity. For the Republic of Korea, Buddhism is a foundational spirit that underpins our culture and guiding thread that connects modern Korea to its traditional past. Indeed, Buddhism has long been vital in helping Koreans overcome myriad hardships over many millennia. And on a personal level, the day of Vesak was always deeply meaningful to me since I was raised in a devout Buddhist family. I have embedded nostalgic memories of visiting many famous temples in my youth in Korea, and I was fortunate enough to receive the teachings of the Buddha via books, films, conversations with monks, and through my family. As we celebrate Vesak Day here today, I'm reminded of a famous saying from a Korean scholar that says, Buddhism is the most advanced school of thoughts, even transcending religion, of the spiritual philosophies human beings have ever experienced. In this vein, I believe that this year's celebration is particularly timely as it underscores the importance of the Secretary General's Our Common Agenda, enhances ongoing interfaith dialogue initiatives here at the United Nations, helps contribute to the achievements of the SDGs, and serves as a unique opportunity to strengthen ties between our missions and beyond. Excellencies, venerable monks, ladies and gentlemen, on this day of Vesak, it is my great hope that Buddha's resonant lessons will foster a brighter global era of tolerance, compassion, and service at a time when transnational challenges bring us even closer and inherently require responses born out of cooperation and solidarity. I thank you.
I thank the Ambassador for Korea for his statement. And now may I proceed to give the floor to the Deputy Permanent Representative of Malaysia, His Excellency Sofian Karim. The floor is yours, sir.
Mr. Co-Chairs, Venerable Monks, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, please allow me to take this opportunity to wish Happy Vesak to all celebrating this holy day. I also join other speakers before me in expressing gratitude to His Excellency Mr. Mohan Peris and Mr. Surya Chindawongse, permanent representatives of Sri Lanka and Thailand and co-chairs of this Vesak Day commemoration, as well as to all committee members for organizing today's events. Venerable monks, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we join our Buddhist friends to honor the birth, enlightenment, and passing of Gautama Buddha. In his Vesak Day message to the nation this year, our Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Anwar Ibrahim, recognized that the philosophy of fighting and eliminating greed, hatred, and evil towards the attainment of the highest level of happiness or nirvana is a universal philosophy that can be emulated to cultivate love, human dignity, peaceful coexistence, respect, and living in peace and harmony. This is especially important now in the face of an increasingly challenging and polarized world. As a multicultural and multi-religious country, Malaysia has embraced the diversity of faith, beliefs, and religions among its people. Approximately 20% of the 32 million population of Malaysia practice Buddhism. As a sign of respect and to honor our Buddhist population, the holy day of Vesak is celebrated in Malaysia and has been declared a public holiday since 1962. This is testament to Malaysia's long history of tolerance, respect, and close interaction among peoples of different faiths and cultures. We remain convinced that celebrating our diversity is key not only in promoting mutual understanding, harmony, and unity, but also in ensuring inclusivity and sustainable development among our people. Venerable monks, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this commemoration of Vesak serves as a reminder to all of us on the importance of promoting understanding among people of different cultures, religions, and civilizations in the spirit of peaceful coexistence and international cooperation in pursuing our common agenda towards achieving a better and resilient world for all. I thank you.
I thank the Deputy Permanent Representative of Malaysia for his statement. We have, Excellencies, we have come to the end of the list of speakers. It has now befallen on me to make the concluding remarks. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude the celebration of the United Nations Vesak Day of 2023, which we had the pleasure of celebrating in person after 3 years, a lapse of 3 years, I would like to thank the Venerable Mahasangha, Your Excellencies, distinguished representatives, distinguished guests, the staff of our respective missions, for gracing this occasion and being with us this afternoon. I must also thank the administrative staff of the United Nations for their assistance so readily made available to us. Lastly, but most importantly, I thank the Secretary General for his message, highlighting the importance of peace as propounded by the Dhamma, and of course, the message of the President of the General Assembly, who echoed the same sentiment of peace through the Dhamma. Excellencies, I make this opportunity to thank and appreciate the permanent representative of the Kingdom of Thailand, His Excellency Surya Chandawangsa, and his team for co-organizing this event with us. We thank you, sir. Excellency, your easy and effective style of organization is to be emulated. I would also like to especially thank all the delegations who made statements of interventions at this auspicious occasion. As highlighted by the dignitaries and distinguished colleagues who have made their interventions earlier, the time appears to be right, my dear friends, to dwell deeply into the timeless teachings of Lord Buddha and apply them to nourish our work and our working ethos in the United Nations. At a time when we are deliberating on the multiple crises facing the global community and the need to hand over the legacy of a healthy planet to our future generations, the wisdom that flows from the profound words of the Lord Buddha finds even greater resonance. My dear friends, the teachings of the Buddha shows us the way to the avoidance of extremes of all sorts, the middle way, as the Foreign Minister of Thailand was pleased to observe, which it teaches advocates a life of moderation. Moderation in the consumption of the earth's resources, you will appreciate, leads to sustainability, as well as economic and social justice, not only for ourselves, but for future generations as well, for whom we hold these resources in trust. The middle way in modern times would take the form of sustainable development, the path which avoids extremes of unfettered development and gigantism on the one hand, and on the other, non-use and waste of resources, which results in a want of sustenance. We must give importance to the fact that the resources which nature provides us are the means by which life must be sustained, and the middle way, as propounded in the Buddha's teachings, requires us therefore to use these resources without compromising the principles of sustainability, which we in the United Nations seek to pursue by our endeavors to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. My dear friends and excellencies, let us therefore seize upon this opportunity to reflect on Lord Buddha's teaching and achieve our shared goals at the United Nations with compassion, with empathy, and with solidarity. With this message, while expressing my profound thanks once again to all of you for your participation at this event, let me conclude today's event with the Lord Buddha's timeless words of loving kindness, metta, to heal oneself and thereby the world, and which today forms the basis of what is practiced as metta meditation. Aham avero homi. May one be free from enmity and danger. Abhyapajo homi. May one be free from mental suffering. Anigo homi. May one be free from physical suffering. Sukhi atanam pariharami. May one take care of oneself and with self happily. And finally, sabbe satta bhavantu sukhi tattava. May all beings be well. May the blessings of the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha be with all of you. Namo Buddhaya. Thank you. Proceedings are at an end. Thank you.